Alright, thank you guys all so much for coming to my capstone. I greatly appreciate it. As Miss Down said, my journey with capstone was a little bit rough in the beginning, and before I get into the psychology and music part, I want to kind of explain what happened and why. So my journey with capstone was definitely many things, but easy was not one of them. I struggled with feeling burnt out, balancing work and school, finding passion again, and honestly just senior year overall. Regardless of how much time we had, I struggled to find something I liked and had passion for. For my capstone at first, it was the art of listening to people and how to do it well. However, it was such a broad topic, I quickly got bored and honestly just wanted to do it to get the grade in. I genuinely felt as though I wouldn't be able to find a passion before senior year ended, which made me feel miserable. But then I started thinking back to previous capstones and the ones I listened to and loved. I remembered Ryan Schoon, a previous senior at Front Range, who did his capstone on something very similar, if not basically the same thing. I found it absolutely mesmerizing with all the topics in psychological terms and decided that I wanted to go back into that one for the rest of my capstone. Music has always helped me connect and understand myself and others in a way that nothing else could. As well as when you take a step back, you really start to just see how influential music is in everyday life. I began my research pretty late in the year, unfortunately, but I found quite a lot in just a little bit of time. Terms such as fission, which is what that goosebump feeling is when you see music in a movie that is emotion evoking and it makes you excited and you get butterflies in your stomach and you feel excited but almost nervous. This concept is extremely important when it comes to the entertainment industry, specifically the movie industry. It helps the audience connect with the scene, music, or even the artist behind the music. So, for my first example, I have a very popular thing that I hope most of you recognize. If not, I'm going to be disappointed. Alright. You see how awkward the scene is and almost annoying to watch? You kind of don't want to continue it, and it's just overall slow. It gets really boring, and you just kind of want the scene to be over, obviously. It takes a lot of the intensity out of the scene, and it's just, while you still see dinosaurs in person, it's not as cool. But when you add the loud orchestra in the background, you guys were 1,000 times more engaged than you were with the previous one. I saw far less eye contact with me and more with the slideshow, which is what I wanted, don't worry. But you can see such a vast difference between when it's no music and when there's much more music. And you guys are more excited about the scene and you don't want it to end and you honestly want to keep watching the movie, whereas when there's no music, it gets really, really boring. It makes you want to root for the protagonist and it makes you want to just overall encourage them to continue their journey. However, on almost the opposite side, we have more of a relaxation part of it. Relaxation can help with many things. Some things such as if you're in an awkward situation, like getting your nails done or at a spa, it's much more weird if there's no music going on, considering that you're just sitting there with the person and yeah, it just gets kind of awkward. But a lot of places use this tactic actually to preoccupy your mind. If you think about it, there's always music in restaurants. There's always music in any waiting rooms, elevators, and etc. They use this to help preoccupy your mind and relax it. And then not only for studying and stuff is relaxation music really helpful to just hone in your mind on whatever you're thinking about. Later on, I'll show you an example as well, is that music can also really help relax the brain muscles when it comes to things like dementia, which is a very big thing. For an example of relaxation, music such as this is often used in spas. I'm sure you all have heard it. A lot of people use it to go to sleep, and overall it just helps people do most things in life. Yeah, you don't need to continue that for very long, but. But a very, very important thing that I've looked into quite a lot is the music therapy side of this. Patients with dementia is a memory loss, and so you often can't recall even like your parents' names, your children, and it's a very sad thing to watch. But a lot of music from that time period can help elderly people remember events, remember names, and etc., and can answer questions. And in this video that I'm going to show you, you can visibly see the woman's eyes sort of light up as you're waiting, and it's almost tear-jerking to see because of how beautiful it is. It's really hard for her to recall childhood memories, and you can see that there's almost sort of like a glaze in her eyes as she's trying to force her brain to recall things, but you can visibly see her eyes light up when they put her music on. You can visibly see a difference, and I hope that you all can agree with that she speaks more eloquently, her flow is much better, and her memory overall has improved terrifically. And I just think that that's so fascinating to see that we can do so much to help dementia patients just by listening to music from the era. Later on in my research, this is probably one of my favorite topics, I discovered this thing called synesthesia. So synesthesia is when your senses are abnormally connected to one another. And so some people might have like certain taste to names, so the name Emily to some people might taste like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or music has color and shapes that helps form an opinion on like art and stuff like that. A lot of popular artists claim to have this, like Billie Eilish, which some of you may know, but I have a fantastic example of what people with synesthesia might be thinking and seeing. And we're going to hand you something so that you can also engage in this. So people with synesthesia legitimately can see things like that in their mind when they're listening to music or making art and stuff like that, which is very, very influential. And from that, we get a lot of really cool artists. So we have this artist, Daniel Mullen, and he created this while listening to his favorite music. Created this beautiful piece of art that he saw in his mind while listening to it. We have this artist as well who did the same thing. And a lot of people speculate that Vincent van Gogh actually did as well, just because of the way that his paintings are shaped and moved and his process of painting. And so yeah, I think the synesthesia is honestly really, really cool, and I think you can get a lot of beautiful things from this. Religion uses a lot of music too, especially Catholics use this a lot in their sermons to help sing, and because music engages the emotional part of the brain, and so it helps you connect. And so a lot of, Catholics use this in their sermons, whether in the beginning. A lot of it's in Latin, so a lot of people don't know what it's saying, but often it's so beautiful that people still like to try and sing along and help connect, because it just feels like it brings them closer to God. They do a lot of chants, which I think is really cool. I don't think I have a whole lot of time to file these videos, but Christians do the same thing as well, obviously. We have more of a concert atmosphere that we go off of that helps the audience feel more excited to worship and just kind of like they just want to get up and get ready. And then Buddhism does the same thing as well, but it's more of like the relaxation part of it. But God always calls us to use our talents and gifts for things like this, but obviously I'm not totally sure what I would like to do with this, but there are a lot of different things I could go into. I had no idea that music scientist was a thing, but apparently it is. And then always, if those don't work out, I can just fall back on becoming a really famous music artist, because it would be the easiest route, obviously. But overall, I really enjoyed this part of Capstone, and it was really fun to rekindle my passion for music and psychology, and I really hope that you guys all enjoyed my presentation. Thank you so much.